everyone, and welcome to another event on our last day of the Berkshire High Peaks New Year's Reunion Bash. My name is Carolyn Regula, and I will be helping to host and facilitate the events of our reunion. And the Berkshire High Peaks Festival is a part of Close Encounters with Music. And the mission of Close Encounters is to engage the imagination of diverse concert audiences in a welcoming setting, to connect listeners to performers and composers, and foster the excitement and sense of community that live performance art builds. And to establish a comfortable listening environment, turning performances into enriching and educational experiences. If you would like to donate and help support our reunion bash and future events planned by Close Encounters with Music, I am going to put a link in the chat. So thank you all for your consideration on that. If you have any questions for our guest instructor today, you can use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your Zoom window screen, and I can relay those questions to Peter Zazofsky. It is a pleasure and a joy to introduce Peter Zazofsky to you all. I know him well from my studies in Boston. He's currently on faculty at the Boston University College of Fine Arts and has been an active member of the Muir Quartet for many years. In addition, he's won several top prizes, including the Montreal competition and in Brussels. He's also appeared with the Boston Symphony, Berlin Philharmonic, among many others. So you are in for a treat with the masterclass he has planned for you all today. And without further ado, I am going to hand things over to Professor Zazofsky.
Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening, depending on where you are. I'm so glad to be with you for this first musical event of 2021. It seems like years ago that we were celebrating the beginning of 2020, and who knew at that time all the challenges that we would face and that the world would face in the tumultuous year just finished. Musicians in particular faced many challenges, including the transfer of our activities from online, from live performance to online performances, including lessons, concerts, and all sorts of events that had to be transferred to this new format online. And we found during the course of the year that there was much to be learned and enjoyed from working online. For one thing, we were able to reach people who normally would not be able to make the visit from China or California or any other place to the Berkshires for our annual summer festival at the Berkshire School. So we had quite an interesting time working last summer with students in Korea, California, and other places. Another feature of that is this reunion. For these 3 days, we are seeing and hearing people from many, many places and reuniting with alumni from last summer, 2 summers ago, and others. So the first person who is going to play today, Muriel Oberhofer, is a Swiss violinist who attended the Berkshire School Festival, Berkshire Festival 2 years ago and 3 years ago. Muriel is currently in Switzerland, but she has a little bit of a story to tell about her recent experiences in London, getting back to Switzerland, and contracting COVID-19. Muriel, would you like to say something about your experience?
Well, there's not that much to say. I'm healthy again, so that's very nice, and I made it back to Switzerland, which is very nice as well, especially as England went into lockdown today. But yeah, I'm glad to be back.
No, so you got out of England just prior to the new lockdown, which was announced just yesterday. And how many days ago was it that you left London?
2 days ago.
2 days ago. So you
I was lucky.
just got out just in time. And I think that everyone would like to know what was the experience like flying, for example, from London to Zurich.
Well, airlines are being very careful, so they're staggering boarding and all these kind of procedures. But everyone's wearing a mask, and it's how much you can do in these situations, I guess. So
Right. Right. So you're fortunately back home with your family. And did you say that you have no further symptoms of your COVID experience?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
So what you had was a couple of days of fever or a week?
Yeah, and the cough and
Uh-huh. Fortunately, you're young and strong, and so the effect of the COVID was not too serious. But you did get actually a confirmed case, right? You went and got tested, and they said, "Yep." Right, and of course, you have no idea of how it came about.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're glad to see you. Glad you're feeling well, and that you can play some Brahms for us. So, shall we hear the exposition of the violin concerto, first movement? Bravo! Very well done. Beautiful, beautiful playing. So, Muriel, just by word explanation that everybody will understand, you and I have been working assiduously on this and other works, Prokofiev concerto as well, so for basically the entire first semester. So we have a common understanding based on quite a few lessons while you were in London. You're a student at the Royal Academy. Nevertheless, we have been meeting basically every week, working on this, and then we got through the entire concerto, all three movements, in terms of the preliminary work, the preliminary choosing of fingerings and bowings and many phrasing situations. So a lot of what I want to talk about today is kind of old news to you, but it's still useful to revisit these things and talk about them some more. Because as with any great work like this, the piece grows with you with time. As you have lived with it, we've been through round one of learning it, then you start round two, and I think I'm on round 80 over the years, working on the piece, refining, rethinking, and continuing to find the marvels of the construction of this beautiful work. So there are a couple of things that I like to focus on, and one of them is the use of vibrato, when we use it and what kind of vibrato we use. I have kind of a shorthand for that, which, as you know, and my students are tired of hearing about it. We start with no vibrato, which is really not appropriate for music of this type. And then we have what you might call incidental vibrato, which is the vibrato that goes throughout the phrase. That's the vibrato that's happening, but you don't really notice it. Then we have the expressive vibrato, which you would use, for example, when you finally get to play the great melody, page 2 of the violin part. And then there's the unfortunate vibrato known as desperation vibrato, or one of my students calls camouflage, when you're not really so sure about where the note is. So then we tend to start vibrating because we don't know where the note is, so we're going to go searching for it with vibrato. And that is not to be encouraged. It's a natural human instinct, but we don't encourage that. So another thing that we're going to talk about is the inevitable situation with online playing when you're playing by yourself with no piano. And that is pacing, timing and pacing. And I have seen throughout this year, since March, many students who completely lose the pulse of the piece, of the section, and the way one rhythm relates to another. There's a tendency to elongate or shorten. Long notes get shortened, and from duple to triplet and back to duple, and some of that has been lost because of the loneliness of playing by yourself. So we long for the day when you can go back to playing in RAM, in Royal Academy, with your pianists friends, and you can play this and find the balance that is such an important part of the Brahms concerto. Under normal circumstances, in person, it is a supreme challenge to find how to be expressive and at the same time have everything work together and hold together as a unit, as a whole section or a whole piece. All right, so let's go back to the beginning. Now, one of those places where you had a little problem was after you play these, and then you continue, then, right? And what happened to you, Muriel, is that you took time, and then you eventually came in. But of course, you're smiling because you know there's something wrong there. And what is that?
Too late.
Yeah, I mean, if you do that, you're going to have a pretty unhappy conductor, aren't you? And why might the conductor be unhappy with you at that moment?
Well, because the orchestra has a beat in the middle. And
Yes. So if you do, bam, right? So when you are playing, you're not only playing your part, but you're also feeling da 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 dum bum ba, right? And that is absolutely crucial to, now you can play it a little late. You don't have to be metronomic or, like a computer, ba 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 bum bum bum. But it has to be pretty close to that, right? So let's do the beginning and ask ourselves, can we vibrate without losing the pitch for the octaves? Right, so where should you be? Think about that F. Right? So it's really the A at the bottom that needs to be near the frog, right? So what about this top note? With vibrato, with connection. Right. What I noticed with you is that your fourth finger vibrato tends to be a little bit tight and narrow. So perhaps it could be a touch slower. Because it sounds a bit too narrow. Okay, so what are we doing with the first finger? So the question for you is, are you going to find the best A just with your finger? Or is it going to be involving the hand on the string? The first finger on the string? What do you think?
I think the hand off is probably easier, but
Okay, so let's try it. Let's try it. So, okay, that's good. That's very good. Now, let's remember that the beginning of this has to be a great event. That D has to be the most impressive D ever heard. Right? Now, see? I remember this is the retake that Mr. Galamian encouraged. How to do that? To have the two Ds with a retake. So that means that this has to be very small bow in the string. All right, but you can do a little more. Okay, we know that this has to be the biggest octave of the three, right? Clearly, it's the largest interval. So you have this. So you're probably going to need to drag your wrist back because of the flat, the first finger is on a half position. So, and I would vibrate right away. Your tendency is to vibrate late. We hear that. So do the 3 octaves. Okay. Now, you have to be careful now that the first finger's not too low. I messed you up, right? You don't want to be too low with that. So whatever you do with your wrist, make sure that the first finger's not too low. Right, go on. Obviously an elongated syncopation, right? So, all right, so it has to have that gypsy element, right? We've talked before about the amalgam of gypsy and Germanic writing here, right? This is very much a gypsy element. And this is Germanic. And then this. Right? So it has to have that gypsy feeling. So I want you to vibrate each one of those octaves, Muriel. Try one more thing, and that is your bow speed. Faster on each one of those octaves, faster bow speed, and then you can slow it down. In order for it to sound more wild, so in other words, you're a little too sustained. I want to be a little more fast bow. Great. Last thing. Do the same thing with the bow, but vibrate more. Great. Great. Keep moving. So you find your way. Now you missed it because you have gotten out of the habit of actually playing it in time, right? So right? So you can find the octave sooner. Right. Okay, I noticed that before. You see? So I heard. I don't know. Right? So. So it has to have a relation. Yes, it has to be freer, but it has to have a relation. Okay? So just do from... Right. Right. So what happened?
Too
What
much
happened?
time again.
The proportion, you see? And honestly, this is... I see this with students, whether they're online or whether in person. The proportion is, in my mind, a crucial component. You see, I mean, because you're playing it wonderfully. You know, I'm so pleased to hear it again. It's been what has it been, a month since we heard this when we went on to the more than a month and a half.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's growing in you, even in a few days of working. You know, so when you have this. And then, so it still has to have a connection, you see? So maybe from here, beautiful. Okay. That's wonderful. What I loved about your playing now is that melody was beautifully felt. You connect to the music marvelously. You might ask yourself when you vibrate that melody, which note should be vibrated less, because it's not very interesting if every note is vibrated the same amount, right? So you might ask yourself, okay, how much vibrato on this one, for example? Do I need much vibrato on that? No, not really. This note doesn't need as much vibrato, does it? Because if you vibrate a little bit, shall we say you vibrate incidentally on the F sharp, then the A can be more expressive because what surrounds it. Okay? Now, once you play this, I would just a half a bow so that you're here. You see, because going down here to the G string at the tip, oh my goodness. Right? So play the trill. Okay, so beautiful, beautiful. Now, I would like you to do one thing when you play this passage. I would like you to smile. You have such a wonderful smile. Look at that. Because this music is not so serious. I mean, I look terrible, I know. You look much better, but the music makes me smile. So let's make the music smile inside of you. Whether you actually smile or not is immaterial, as long as your soul smiles. Okay? So play maybe from here. And then smile, and then make so beautiful, right? Okay. So look at how that happened. I felt that you tightened up when you had to make that shift. But if your violin goes up and your fingers go up, everything will work for you. Because when you have this section, I don't want you to feel like you're going down, but that you're lifting up. See? So let's try from... See? And when you play the top B the second time with the grace note, you don't need pressure with the bow. You don't need it at all. Just draw the bow. Good. Okay. So look, there's a tremendous amount there that's just marvelous, and I want you to feel that when you play here, that you are alone. You know, I mean, because the orchestra stops, as you know. So you have to play in such a manner that you are aware that you are playing in a 2,000 seat or 2003 500 seat Zurich concert hall by yourself, and you have to fill that space. So you need to play with your body, not your arm, the whole body. That's right. Now when you do that, now then you can relax, okay? So anyway, and you did the Joachim bowing, which is right? And that's okay as long as you can get enough sound out of the top A. Right? Try it. Good. That's excellent. Yeah, excellent. That was terrific. So remember, the king of Hemiola is Brahms. All right. So you can hear. Right. Well, is it really? No. It's kind of feel the triplet. Yeah. Right? But you still have to play in the same rhythm, but it's a question of how you feel it. All right? The same with this. So, bum, 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 bum. They're not equal. So what I'm going to do is play every first note and every second note less, so that we hear bum, 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 bum. Not to do it now, but the next time you play that. Okay, I think I'm probably going to have to go on to the next person now, but it is so great to hear you, and that it's so wonderful that you are feeling good and that you're home in Switzerland. So you'll be doing your Royal Academy of Music classes online, including your lessons, your normal lessons. And, I will be seeing you, obviously, for more adventures in Brahms and Prokofiev and other things. Okay? And I long for the day when we can actually work together in person. But in the meantime, it's good to see you and know that you're doing so beautifully. So give my very best New Year's greetings to your parents also.
Thank you. They're watching, I think.
Okay, so they know what we do when you tell them you had your latest lesson. Now they can see a tiny snapshot of what we're actually doing. Okay? So look forward to seeing you soon in person, but thank you for playing for our class and for being a part of our reunion. It's wonderful to see you.
Thank you so much for asking me. It was a pleasure.
Okay, take care. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Right, so now I believe that we have Emily. Emily, you can make your screen visible to us so we can talk for a minute.
Can you see me now?
I do see you now. And so why don't you just introduce yourself a little bit, tell people, what your station is, your high school, the junior, and tell us where you're from and where you go to school.
Well, my name's Emily. I'm a high school junior. I go to Walnut Hill School for the Arts, and currently I'm doing all my classes online from my home in Vermont.
Where you also keep horses.
Yes.
So when people talk about, I've seen various videos where people are, chatting together, and they bring their dogs and their cats into the picture, but you're not really going to do that with your horses. I understand that you go out and you take care of your horses. There are two, yes?
Yes, there too.
That's wonderful. Yeah. You're one of the very few students I have who has a stable and horses to take care of. And I'm sure they're very, very glad for the fact that you are forced to be home and that you can spend time with them.
Yes.
And that you can serenade them with Bach. So tell us what you're doing today.
I'm going to be playing the last four movements of the Bach Partita number 3. So the minuet 1, 2, Bourrée, and the Gigue.
Excellent. Okay. Well done. Beautiful, beautiful. I wish we had some applause. We had an applause track because when one plays well, it's nice to hear some plaudits afterwards. So they only come from me in this case. So let's talk about a few things. First of all, I'm very happy about what you're doing in terms of the general graceful character of the minuet. We talked about it, and you're really doing it. It has the element of the dance that we spoke about. Okay, so the minuet one works very well in that sense. But what I want to talk to you about is what happens to you when you have measures and measures about only eighth notes. So, for example, bar 16, 17, 18, 18, going into 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So all those bars. What happens to you when you have a series of measures which are only eighth notes?
Me personally?
Yep, you personally. What happens?
I would say I rush.
Well, rush may be too strong a word, but you do get rolling. Okay? You tend to, rush is too strong a word, but you tend to roll forward, which is a musical thing to do. You're a musical person, you're doing a musical thing. But there's a problem. And the problem is, eventually, you got to start playing double stops and triple stops again.
Yeah.
So, when we get to bar 27, you're feeling like, oh darn, I wish I hadn't moved so much. You see? Yeah. Because then you're a little bit rushed and you're unhappy with the double stops. And it's not because your technique was inappropriate. Your technique was fine. But it's just the cumulative effect of playing those bars with eighth notes and phrasing forward. That's the word I use. You phrase forward, which is lovely, but you must also find places where you can catch the bass. I heard you doing that actually in the Gigue. A couple of places you caught the bass beautifully, and it prevented you from going off the cliff. You see? Yeah. So this is what's going to work for you. It's also going to prevent you from having unfortunate E-string buzzes and things like that. Okay? So I want to work a little bit in the Gigue, but I do want to first of all congratulate you for playing in a graceful manner. We spoke about it, and you're really doing it. That we understand that you're basically in a Victorian era novel with hoop skirts, and you're dancing with your most wonderful delicacy of your hand position and your leg position, and you're enjoying being where you are. You're enjoying dancing with whoever you're dancing with, and you've got that wonderful relaxation and even a bit of formality, because we understand that the minuet it has an element of formality to it. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to play that again, and actually, if you wouldn't mind, doing at least the first repeat.
Okay.
You don't have to do the second repeat, but please do the first repeat. Okay. Remember the first beat. Good, good. So we saw that buzz. So now I told you have the option of playing that as an uppo as well. We can experiment with that as well. Now, which is more, this or this one? Which downbeat do you think you want to play more?
The first one?
Yeah, let's try. First of all, the first one has the virtue of not having an open E string to worry about.
Yeah.
See? So if you're a little more, and then a little more modest. Look at the bow speed, Emily. You're a little bit like your shoes are not quite going in the air.
Okay.
So two things. One, play more. And then less. Bow speeds. And then try up. And then take the repeat and see if you like it. Okay. All right. So let's find out how to do that. Now, as a practice, lift your bow. So lift your bow so that you have to reset. So just play this, and then lift, and then place. Okay, so lift your arm and turn your bow. Okay, so okay, next question. What about this? What about that downbeat?
Be as heavy as I can.
It's a weak beat, isn't it? It should be a weak beat. Then, so, and see, so make that a weak beat and then go forward. Go on. That's good. Okay, so let's see what your left hand's doing. Right? Are you starting in second position, this? So let me see your fingering again.
Yeah, it's
Okay, so and that's kind of difficult unless your thumb is quite active. Your left thumb If your left thumb and first finger go back, I think you'll be okay. Try it slowly. Let's just examine that measure. So I'm playing the A sharp. While I'm playing the A sharp, my arm is already lifting, preparing for the double stop. So try slowly. Right. This is the slightly awkward motion that I need for you to become less awkward and more graceful. See? Then let's try. Right. So I would practice to be able to do it rather fast so that when you slow it down it's more graceful and easy. Go ahead. Right. Now, what I hear from you because of the triple stop is bum, 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 bum. So to counteract that, I might play a little more of this. A little more. You see?
Yeah.
Right. That was the best because now I heard dim ba ba bum. Bum ba ba bum. So let's try now. Right? And even though we did this bowing, up, up, you're so graceful that down bow near the frog is no problem for you. Go ahead. So, yes, we're going to eliminate that buzz. So what I'm going to do is emphasize the bass with my arm a little bit higher than you think. And when I do this, I'm not pressing, I'm just flowing. The pressure is on the bass, not the top. So, show me that. Up-o. Okay. Experiment now with your elbow. All right. So let's see from here. I'm in the G string level. Here my elbow's around, and then I'm going to come this way. So in other words, the bow and the arm are going together down like this. Right. See, there's no need for you to be here. Right. So okay. So feel the fingers. So just try 2 and 2. All right, so move your elbow and see if that can help you. Your left elbow. So you think. Now, my wrist is slightly elevated. So, and turn so that I don't have too much a flat hair, because flat hair is too rough sounding. How quickly can you turn? What I do is, as soon as I play the F sharp, I'm already moving my arm to the next note. Okay, so now let's move your bow speed. Okay, so don't worry about the fifth, Emily. Look for the C sharp. Just that. Okay. No, so that was too obvious, right?
Yeah.
If you're gonna dance with somebody in a minuet, you don't want to be so predictable. They kind of lose interest and go on looking for the next lady. Okay, so when you do this, then something, maybe that one less, right? So let's try. So Emily, let me just tell you that even though I told you how to do it, you did it so much better than I told you how to do it. You see? And that's when I hear you do that, I say, wow, what a talented kid she is. Wow. I mean, that was just beautiful. Okay? And it didn't sound like, oh, my teacher told me to do it. What I'm trying to do with you is unlock your innate musicality, which is excellent. Okay, that was excellent. It had nuance, it had life, it had interest, so that everybody who listens to you is just like, yeah, I want to hear more of what she's doing. She's telling a story. Okay, so that was really something, worth keeping, right? And you see, you will do that. Whether I told you or not, but you'll do it quicker if somebody's there.
Yeah.
Saying, Emily, your musicality is more than what you're showing sometimes. Okay? So that's really good. Let me just see. Yeah. Right, in Minuet 2, you're fine until you get to the second half of the Minuet 2, right? Right? So why don't you do bar 13 and go on? And you understand that minuet 2 is something of a drone, right? It's a kind of a drone or bagpipe effect, right? Which Bach uses here. It was also an effect that was quite popular with later composers such as Mozart. Sort of a bagpipe drone kind of thing. So that's what he uses here. Now go ahead and play 13, and let's see how you're going to negotiate the second part of this with your bow. Okay, so very nice. Now let's just take a look at this. We've got to start off with a tritone. Right. So which one do you think you should play more, the tritone or the resolution? Interesting question. Not so obvious, but I would like your opinion. Why don't you play it once and then tell me?
Maybe the resolution, but I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, that's why we like to talk about these things. I'm going to say the tritone for a couple of reasons. For one thing, this is a triple stop with an open E on the top. So it's kind of dangerous to play that, right? And then it kind of sabotages this. And then what about that tritone? You see? So if, on the other hand, if you play more, and then relax, and then play more that tritone.
Okay. Yeah.
You see, I think you'll have, right? So, in other words, I'm going to play it slower and show you. Then, now, which is more, this or this?
I like to think of the first one as less.
Well, why don't you try them both? Try this, and then let's talk again. So now what do you think?
The other way?
Yeah, what do you think now?
Well, this should be more. The first one should be more.
Yeah, sure. Because it's graceful. Da 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 ba 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 da da da. But you played the first time. And I felt like, it's not, I'm not sure I want to dance with that lady. So now, let's try and make sure that nice and high the D sharp and nice and low the A. Right, good. So, you have this very interesting rhythm. What rhythm, you say? They're all 8 notes. No, they're not. Right? So he kind of, by use of the slurs are not slurs, the slurs are phrase markings. Right? So Now, see, I'm going to let that A go. I don't care about the A as much as I care about the B. But you did. Now, why did you play the A more than the B, do you think?
To get ready for the next measure.
Exactly. You did it to get ready for the G sharp.
Yeah.
But musically speaking, getting ready is not what this is about, right? This is something of a high point. Wow, a ninth. Then, and the ending is so charmingly modest. I mean, after all, this. In F sharp minor tells us a little big story, and then you can have. And this is no. And it's so modest that it doesn't even give an octave at the end. You would have thought that he would have. But no, not even that. Even just an E without an octave bass. See? And then I like to go back. And play that again. But, that's an opinion. He doesn't say da capo. So that's a negotiable. All right. I'm going to have to go on soon. So play me a little bit the bourrée and give me a nice pesante feeling, like as if I told you that this is reminiscent of the painter Peter Bruegel. I might have mentioned that to you, right?
You mentioned about it being peasant-like.
Right. Well, if you go on your computer and you look Bruegel, Breughel, and you'll see the dances he portrayed, Dutch painter, and you see people dancing in peasant dress and peasant style, and you really get a feeling for this music as opposed to the minuet. Yeah. The people in this particular dance you're going to play are not so well dressed, but they're having a whale of a good time. Yes. So you can make sure each one of those is like a kick. Good, very good. So look, just remember that these peasants, they have a few extra pounds on them because they're loving life and they're eating a little more than they ought. Okay? And when you play, see, when you do this, I mean, that might be a peasant who's 12. But if they've got a few extra pounds on them, they've got a little more on themselves to dance a touch slower, not quite so brilliantly as you play. Okay? I mean, it's wonderful that you have that, but also that will allow you to play forte when it's forte and piano when it's piano. You have a little tendency to do... But you should stay. It should be a bit rougher sounding. That's all. Okay, so before I have to go on to the next, play the Gigue, and remember that you did a great job in bar 11 and catching the bass notes, right? But remember that when you have in bar 9, ba-da-dum-bum, make sure that rhythm is pronounced, Emily. Da-da-dum-bum, not da-da-dum-da. So don't leave the 8th note too soon. Da-da-dum-bum. Okay. Go ahead and play it. Okay, good. So, catch, see, you were in such a hurry. See, and that's not exactly human as terms of a phrase, right? I don't want to say you're not human, but you're not allowing yourself to make phrases. You allow yourself to make that phrase, and then you'll go on. It'll be okay. Okay? So, look, you have this... if you relax your arm... If you will relax your arm, drop your elbow just a little bit, your sound will improve, because right now you're a little bit on the top of the string. So now you're here. So let your arm drop right after you start the third measure. So we right away heard you were more in the string. That was great. Now relax your arm. You relax the bow. So you can have that phrase. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-dum. So play from here. That was great. Finish up now. Go on. Wait. Now we're going to tell a different story. Really? See? So maybe not quite so fast. Yes, excellent. Okay, now I'm very pleased about this, and now I'm getting greedy, because you know how it goes. The better you play, the greedier I get. Mm-hmm. When you play this well, so beautifully, then I want the preludio, and then the lure, and then the gavotte, and we put the whole thing together, and you make a wonderful, wonderful recording. Okay. So that is our goal right now, okay? But you've got, I mean, we've already been over those pieces, but, you know, now that you've got these four, you can say, the 2 minuets, then you put together the first half of it, And you've got a really, really beautiful partita. I'm very, very pleased with that, to go along with all your other repertoire. And so I think I'm seeing you tomorrow, am I not?
I think so, yes.
Yes, okay. I'm looking forward to it. But thank you very much for joining our party, our reunion. I'm sure everyone here was very glad to hear you play this, and it's wonderful, wonderful playing. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so now let's go on. We are on to Jackson. There he is. Okay. Jackson, for those who, there may be some people who are not knowledgeable about you, so just tell everyone your what you where you go to school and what you're doing.
I'm a freshman at Boston University, where I'm studying with Professor Zazofsky.
Right, and tell us about your repertoire for the first semester.
This past semester, we focused mainly on the Adagio from Bach's First Violin Sonata in G minor, and Wieniawski's Scherzo Tarantelle, which were the two pieces that I submitted for my juries. We also did some work on the 9th and 15th Paganini Caprices, and I'm now working on the third Isai Sonata, which was assigned to me just this winter break.
Correct, great. So you're going to play just a couple of pages from that as an in-progress work on the Isai Ballade, okay?
And I made a recording of it. If we could do a screen share now or something, that would be great, please.
Okay, great. So I think Carolyn can help with that.
You got it, Jackson. Here it comes.
Okay. Good job. Beautiful. Okay. So, I'm always very pleased and to see a student take a new piece, something that we have not worked at all, except for yesterday, just a little taste. And you've been doing, all of this work on your own to get to the point where we are now, which is very good in terms of your understanding of the intonation, your understanding of the harmonies and the way it goes. You're doing a very, very fine job of that. Over the next period of weeks, as we return to campus, you will find a way to connect phrases. Okay, I can see you very well. We'll find a way to connect phrases and pull things together, okay? So this is a very mysterious opening, as we spoke about yesterday. Because it doesn't explain anything. When you play an A, and then you get a C sharp, what I would expect is some sort of A minor, A major, something. But as soon as you have this, it's already very peculiar and uncertain. Okay? So basically, you have a diminished series of diminished intervals and no resolution. Right? Because when you have this, you expect a D minor. The piece is in D minor. But when you play the beginning, you don't know where you are. So it becomes quite strong, mezzo forte and forte, but without a resolution. So it's something that it's like somebody shouting at you, but you don't know why. Okay, that's the effect. That when you finish here, and you're saying like, what's all that about? I don't know. So this is something that is again very mysterious. What does this mean? Literally, it tells me, I don't know. Is it D major? Is it D minor? It's completely without understanding harmonically. And you'll notice a very peculiar thing. When you look at your music, you'll see that there is no measure indication from the beginning until the end of the first section, until measure 2. Did you notice how peculiar that is?
Yeah, I did.
It's all basically one kind of improvisation. Now, one of the things that I always try to stress with students is that it says in modo di recitativo, but the rhythm is very clearly delineated. He knows exactly what he wants, and he tells you exactly what he wants. He wants a fermata, right? And the second time, no fermata. See, so he's very specific. He wants it to sound like an improvisation, but he wants you to play the rhythm that he writes. So I'd like you to try that. Now, there is another element of this, and what I'm going to tell you now is only my opinion. I think that Isai, in writing this, was influenced by a particular piece of Beethoven, a string quartet known as the Grosse Fuge. And what Beethoven was experimenting was this interval, among other things. He's got that. So all of these, and there's a little whiff of the Grosse Fuge in this piece. See, and I hear that maybe he was thinking of the Grosse Fuge, but even if he wasn't, these intervals and these seconds, and then That seventh is very strong, and I'd love to see you play with more dynamism. What's the bow going to do, Jackson? So I'm going to stop the bow and vibrate like crazy on that fermata. And I'm going to sustain the bow. So why don't you play the beginning? Okay, now before we go on, let's see if we can start to move. If we can move a little bit more when we go to the A string and D string. Let's see if we can pick it up a little bit where it says it's poco stringendo. Good. That was much better. Much better. If you're looking for an internal rhythm, you might say this. That's one idea. Now here's another idea. So I see it as 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So I break it this way. I say 3 and 4. So try one more time from here. And look for this ghostly sound. Experiment with your fingerboard with a little bit of vibrato.
Should I keep going?
Yes, please. Great, Jackson. Great. The G was quite impressive now. Can you do that while saving the bow? So that your next... If you can sustain the sound... Okay, so play from here. Yes. You play that G, play the A flat G again, and then push the bow up O. Push the bow. Okay, so once you get here, that was all good. But keep the tempo going. Try to keep the tempo going, and, very important, sustain your bow. The pressure of your bow. look at what you did. Look what you did. You did this. See? So all I'm asking you to do is sustain the bow on the down bow. You see? All I'm asking you to do is sustain the down bow a bit more. So why don't you from here and vibrate with fast bows to make the accents. Okay, good. Can you keep the tempo? Don't slow down so much, okay? Yes. So fine. So let's feel the beat. It's 5/4. So let's make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see what I'm doing? I'm not stopping and then stopping, but I'm keeping the fifth beat. Then start to see, so the fifth beat is never delayed. It's pretty much in the same tempo. Then you can start the third time. And then you can start to move, you see? So start again. Like your feet are in this quicksand, so it's hard to lift your feet now. Go ahead. Second time, you don't have to get faster yet. And when you play here, look at my bow. I don't draw. Okay, so it will help with the continuity of the phrase. Because if you go to the tip, you're going to have a lot of problems here. So you're going to be going, right? So from here, save, then go ahead and try the beginning of that. Then go ahead. So, as you become more comfortable, you saw it much better, you see? See, and you didn't rush. It was organic. I love that word, organic. It's good for music, it's good for food, right? So, see, I am obsessed with the intervals that he wrote. They're so interesting, and I always want to hear the double stops. Hear that? So that means... Now, you'll get more comfortable, Jackson, with this. And then the quarter tone. So that's something that's just going to take a little bit more time. I showed you yesterday about practicing with the rhythms so that you get this. So that you'll get, and you can even do separate bows. But right now you feel a little cautious, right? Because you're careful, and I love that you're careful with the pitch, you know? And that's great. And as you get more comfortable with those, you'll be able to play with more continuity and move forward a little bit. So once you finish here, remember, use those fast bows indicated in the score. Show me that right now. Right. So, and then you got... That's all pretty clear. Leave the E string finger on so that you can keep your position. From here. Okay, so you'll get comfortable. 4, 3, 2, 2, 2, 3. So you'll get more comfortable with that, but I want to go forward. So if you're... Enjoy that marvelous G sharp B flat. Okay, good. Now you might go to either third position or second position. Or even first position. But it needs to stay fortissimo. And I feel strong at the tip. Then mezzo forte. So for now, just play 4-0. And then... sustain. So sustain your sound. See, I'm not gonna do this. Sustain. You see how I'm continuing to try to sustain the sound? So play from here. Good. All right. There was an awful lot of good stuff in there. When you play here, let's take your time. Let's take your time. That is the most tragic second. Enjoy it. Okay, so it's very deep musically. Enjoy, don't rush away. So that's very proud, isn't it? Sad and proud at the same time. And again, don't rush away. You see, and he takes great pain to make accents as a way of forcing you to not rush. Dee pa pa pam, ya pa pa pam. You see those accents? They're not aggressive accents. They're expressive. Okay, and so you'll want to take the advantage of those to avoid any temptation to rush. You see that bar 28, Jackson, is mezzo forte espressivo. Okay? Now, in this whole section, this is the first time we see espressivo. Can you play right from there? Espressivo, do not rush. Right. Well, you're doing very well. And you see, even in a few minutes of working together, it improves a lot, Jackson. It just shows me how fast you're going to improve and really do beautifully with this when we have more time together. Okay? So I'm looking forward to having another lesson next week or in a few days. And, this is going to be your piece. You're going to own this piece. I can already hear. Very often when I hear you play and I'm saying, okay, I hear in the future a really terrific performance of this piece. Okay, you've got the ability, physical and musical, and it's going to be your piece. You're going to play it all over the place, and everybody's going to love how you play it. So this is very exciting, and I'm really happy that you played today for us and that you're on the road to a wonderful Izai Ballad.
Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks again, and I will see you soon. And let's finish. Let's see, get Olivia here. There you are, Olivia.
Hello.
Hello again. So we're on a roll with Izai, who is certainly among my favorite 20th century violin composers, because he writes music that sounds unbelievably difficult, and it isn't nearly as hard as it sounds. So tell us what you're going to play.
I'll be playing the Melanchonia and the variations from the second Izai Sonata.
Right. Okay. Mute on. Okay. Okay, good. Good. It's been a while since I heard this.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about a few things that were interesting. Did you notice something about your intonation in the Melanchonia?
I was probably sharp.
Yes. Beyond fashionable, beyond famous. I think we're into the shameless category. And what means is that whenever you play an open string or a harmonic, it sounds quite flat. And it's not because your fiddle's out of tune.
Okay.
Now, the interesting thing was that you were quite consistent in your sharpitude. So that taken without any harmonics or open strings, it would be, well, all right. You know, it's on the interesting side, but within its own structure, it was not really out of tune, not quite. It was just very on the high side, on the high end. So I'd like you to experiment. Now, tell me, if you can play bar 3, can you play that B with a third finger and still play the harmonic that follows, or is that too far for you? Right. Now that B is high, you see. Right. Right. So what seems to be happening is this. It's quite sharp. Listen to this. Now, if you're this, it's quite problematic. So, now, if this is a problem, there's one of two solutions. Either you play this and then use your elbow to get the 4 harmonic, or you give up on the third and you go to second. So which one is it going to be, Olivia?
I'll try the elbow thing.
Good. Yeah. Good. Right. So for this Melanchonia, actually, after all the difficulties of the first movement and of the last movement, this is actually the hardest movement, in my opinion, because there's nowhere to hide, and
Yeah.
phrasing has to be just exactly right with the Sicilian rhythm, right? It's a Sicilian ba ba bum bum or lure. So that means there are issues with the bow, with the upbeat, with the up bow, okay? And then so let's get a little more focus when you play. I think maybe it's the nature of the computer. It sounds a little louder than it needs to be. You have a mute on, and let's see if we can play. let's see what you can do. All right, good. All right. Oh, look, for about 7 measures, 8 measures, you were good. You were quite good. And then it started to go sharper and sharper. In bar 10, like make sure that you don't make the 5th with too loud, right? Yeah, now that we got to be careful, okay? We got to be careful. This one. Here. See, you have to be careful about the intonation being sharp on there. All right. So, I don't want to take more time now, but just go on to the pizzicato. See if you can space out the pizzicato so it's not quite so right.
Okay.
How's your fingernail?
It's trying. I mean, I'm definitely on the tip of it.
Just a pain. Hear it. Need to hear that. Now, you don't need a fingernail for that, but you do need to look at where my hand is. Look at where my hand is. It's down here. Look. See? No. See? I heard this. I'm not that interested in that.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Now hold on. That's piano, Olivia. Now less. He marks piano there, diminuendo to piano. So it would be wonderful. Then less. Right?
Yeah.
follow what he wrote, yes?
Yes.
Right away. So let's find a way to vibrate and make these notes. Now, wait a second, that's piano. That is piano. So, two fingers. Two fingers. Piano. Right. But two fingers. Right. Now, of course, it's going to be so wonderful when you come back to studio and then we can actually work on this in person because you will see more clearly than you can on a screen.
Yeah.
Right?
It's going to be really nice.
Nice when you're able to do that, okay? Now, I know we have to wrap up this class because we've gone on quite a bit. I caution you in variation 2 that you should not shorten a quarter note. Right, because you shortened that to about an eighth note. And what about this one? So let's play. Play the variation number 2. Right. So remember that when Isai writes this wonderful word sensible, which looks to you like sensible, but it's not sensible, it's sensitive. Sensible. And he writes sensible and sede. So it means it's a command that you must do something. You see? Right? So not... Right? And he even gives you a fingering. And then innocently. Right? Now, if you're going to do the next variation, then right away... Now, pianissimo. Okay? So play the last measure, would you? Good. Okay, so I'm gonna just let me see if there's anything. No, just play the end, please. The chords.
Okay.
Okay. Roll them and play them with a dolce. Dolce, not too loud. Yes, forte, but not too loud for the computer.
Okay.
So play those last two measures. Yes. Now figure out what to do. Go ahead. Right. Right. So when you play this fifth, now put the 3 down. Find your 4th. Put the D down too sharp. And fingers too high as well. Right.
Okay.
I think that the leading tone does not have to be quite that high. All right, so play that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so my F is really high. Okay.
Right, right. Now remember that we have this is on the D string. So what happens to the G string is it eats the D string. That note should not be as strong as the F sharp. Right? So the part of the intonation is actually the balancing of the double stop. Right? So you know your first finger doesn't have to be quite that sharp. And then just sustain the sound like that. Play the last few measures and then we're finished. Right. Well, I can't wait to get this movement plus the last movement and the first movement, and very soon we're going to have this whole thing put together.
Yep.
Along with the Prokofiev, and it's going to be wonderful to get all that done at BU.
Yep.
Okay? So thanks very much for playing today.
Thank you so much.
People that are very good to see you, hear you play. And I think this idea of a reunion in the middle of the year, January, is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Good to get a good kickstart on 21, onward and upward. And I'm very grateful to Yehuda for this inspiration to get us all together. So thank you, Olivia, and thank you everyone who tuned in and watched us work together today.
Thank you.
Much for that, Peter. Do you have any final closing comments before we finish up today?
Not anything really profound. I feel that we have, as a community, we have gone through a lot, but that we are very strong. As a community of people who love music and who are studying music, we'll continue to improve. Use the medium of recording ourselves all the time and having lessons in person when we can and online when we can't. That we continue to grow. This is by no means an impossible task in the new world of computer. And I say thank goodness that we had this happen when it did, and not 15 years ago or 10 years ago, or when we could not have used the technology to be able to be together. I'm just so happy with the idea that we are able to be in contact no matter where in the world, China, Korea, Singapore, or Los Angeles, or anywhere, that we can still have the community and be together and learn. So I want to wish everyone a wonderful year full of joy, good health, and live music.
Beautifully said. You said you had nothing profound to say.
Well, I'm
Lovely.
not really, but I just really love hearing everyone and seeing everyone. I wish I could see everyone on the screen, but that doesn't work today. But I'm very glad to know that there are people out there watching our class, and I'm looking forward to see all of you, or as many of you as I can, either in person or online. And certainly this summer, in one way or another, we will be together at the Berkshire Festival.
Thank you so much, Peter. And thank you for everyone who attended the class today. Congratulations and bravi to Jackson, Emily, Olivia, and Muriel for their performances and contributing to this class and putting themselves out there to perform live. Even though it's all over Zoom, we still get those live performance jitters. So it's great practice, and thank you to you four for putting yourselves out there and doing this for the reunion.
Right, and I want to say a special thanks to the cello doll, Carolyn. Carolyn, you're amazing, and you make everything work, and you do it in such a beautiful spirit of joy and patience as well.
Oh, Peter, that means so much. Thank you. That really, you made my day. Thank you. It's an honor to help facilitate this, and it aligns with what I really believe, that as artists, we've been tested. We've absolutely been tested this year in terms of our perseverance. What are we going to do? And so it's an honor for me to host a reunion like this that wants to inspire musicians to carry on. And it's something that I absolutely believe we need to do as artists. We need to fight in a way to keep our art alive, and it's not easy. So for myself included, it's not easy, but it's something that we do. And so it's an honor to host an event and help facilitate this to inspire others. And for those of you watching in the chat, I did put a link to the Berkshire High Peaks website, which has our 2 events left tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a masterclass with Danielle and Carrie, who you might have seen today in the panel with Dr. Cannon. They are giving a masterclass with the theme of Epiphany and talking about their experiences during the pandemic, along with some vocalist alumni. And we hope to see you there. And at 9 p.m., we have the faculty tribute. You'll get to see all of the faculty members who participated in this reunion, including Peter Zazofsky, among others. And that's going to premiere on the Close Encounters with Music YouTube channel. And that is happening at 9 p.m. If you can't make it, don't worry. It will be up and available to watch whenever you can. So thank you all so much. And we hope to see you for our last event, and that you can close out the reunion with us. Have a beautiful night, everyone. And goodbye for now.
Thanks, Gary.